Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. Welcome back yet again everybody. First and foremost, I do want to greet you all a happy new year. All right, 2022 has begun. This is my first video review of 2022. I'm pretty sure that fragrances as a hobby will continue to grow in 2022, and I think that we haven't covered all the bases yet. I think that we are still going to get some stellar releases, some great combinations throughout this next year. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited by the fact that we are already past 10,000 subscribers, guys, okay? And we are still growing. So I do want to thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and sharing all of my videos to your friends, to your family members, because a lot of this stuff right here, a lot of what we tackle right here is just honest to goodness stuff. There's no unwarranted hype. There's no vested interest, just some honest, no nonsense reviews. Now, this fragrance that we are going to review today is requested by you guys at home. That's right, a lot of you guys requested this. This fragrance won unanimously in a poll that I gave for my next video. But interestingly, guys, this is a fragrance that is sold out. There's no way that any of us can obtain a retail bottle at this point from Roja Parfums. And I think the reasons that a lot of you guys want me to review this is, number one, is this really worth the hype? Because right now it's being resold at double or even triple of what the retail price was, and the retail price was already $1,000. Is it worth the resale value? How much should I offer somebody for this fragrance if I wanted to buy it? And the second question, of course, is what does this fragrance really smell like? Okay, so number one, is it worth the hype? And number two, what does it smell like? And the fragrance we are going to talk about today is none other than Roja Parfums Manhattan, right here. Manhattan by Roja Parfums. This fragrance right here was one of two fragrances that I've been looking for, like in terms of like a decant for me to sample. Other one is Pure Oud by Louis Vuitton. So if anybody has it or has the hookup to that, I would love to try a 3 ml of Pure Oud so I can test it for you guys. But the other one definitely was Roja Parfums Manhattan. Now Manhattan right here, this fragrance took us by storm, okay? It came out of nowhere and it was priced really high. It was really limited and it sold out really quickly. And this is during the pandemic. A lot of people at that time, I'm sure, were not economically prepared for buying like $1,000 limited Roja Parfum, and it was like a blind buy too, because there are no samples, there's no test, you can't buy it anywhere else other than the website. So basically this was a really expensive blind buy. Now of course this sold out, okay? Manhattan sold out, and in my opinion this is because of the really amazing and totally gridlocked Roja Parfums model. You know, the business model of Roja, the way that he scales up these perfumes, you really can't beat it, guys, okay? And in my opinion, until today, Roja Parfums is still the gold standard of what a grail perfume really is. Boadicea is also like a grail type of perfume, but it's more of like an insider grail perfume. In my opinion, Roja is like a grail perfume platform that really, I mean, you could go from entry level all the way up and you would still consider what you have a grail. For a lot of people that purchase designer fragrances or fragrances that are on the 150 to 200 bracket, once you get into their entry level parfum colognes, which is like 400, I believe, or 300. For a lot of y'all, even for me, when I was buying at that level, I thought that that was like the grail, you know, just the parfum cologne of Elysium or Danger or Enigma. And then once you get into that, it scales up to like the next levels, and there's just so many, and the price brackets are pretty similar. So from getting the parfum cologne, you could get the parfum versions of those perfumes, or you can go into fragrances like O or Oceania. You can get into the mysterious Gulf collection, you know, with Saudi Arabia and Oman. And then you slowly scale up to those really expensive ones, okay? From Black Tier to Diaghilev to PDLN 3, and then suddenly you're already on maybe Haute Luxe levels or Haute Perfumery. Roja has a really awesome way of making you go up to that level if you are really into perfumes. Not only do the perfumes become more complex smelling, they also become more expensive smelling the more it scales up. Roja already had a crop of people that were already used to spending $1,000 on Roja Parfums. And I'm not talking about decants of the fragrances. I'm talking about the whole deal. You've got the lacquer box, the presentation, you bought it in store plus tax, or at their Haute Perfumery. This was an easy release for them. I thought that, man, this is going to be an easy cash grab for Roja because really a lot of people are already scaled up to that level. I'm going to go blind and maybe it's going to hurt my wallet, but I've already done this before and I trust Roja. Anyways, that's that on my opinion of the release of Manhattan. Let's go look into the fragrance right now by spraying it. Okay, real quickly guys. Now Roja Manhattan was inspired by the 1920s New York, 1920s Manhattan, where we were going through the Prohibition period, guys. And, you know, there were a lot of dimly lit speakeasies, a lot of undercover speakeasies where you could drink and listen to music. And that is what inspired this fragrance right here. Now, on the top notes right here, you're going to get some lavender, some basil, and some bergamot. And I think that these three notes really do set the tone of what Roja Manhattan is. Even if you have the tobacco note way later, I really think that these three are probably not mentioned too much. A lot of people are probably mentioning the tobacco and the vanilla part of this fragrance, but to me guys, the intro, the first part is quite important. There is a spicy effect, a warm and spicy effect with the intro, guys, care of the basil and the lavender, guys. Okay, so the lavender really does set the tone of like a manly type of perfume, but the basil right here, the spice and the aromatic nature of that basil really makes it a warm, spicy type of intro. Now bergamot right here, guys, as you guys know, I love bergamot. I love how it sets the tone of a formal or semi-formal type of perfume. And so it does pretty much the same thing here, but in my opinion, the bergamot here is not your sparkling type of bergamot. I think it's more like your bitter type of bergamot, guys. And it just complements the basil and the lavender. Again, sets the tone of a warm and spicy, manly intro that already sets the tone for the next parts of this perfume. If you are one of those buyers that obviously blind bought this for like $1,000 and you were thinking about like a speakeasy type of environment, and I don't know if you guys go to speakeasies, I definitely don't. However, if you were thinking about a semi-formal to formal perfume that has some machismo in it, as well as a mysterious vibe, in my opinion, the opening part does it already. So I'm sure a lot of you guys, once you smelled the opening, you guys were like, oh man, this is so manly and it's so like speakeasy. There's some spice in it and it's kind of like a warming type of intro. Now here's the interesting part, the mid, guys. Okay, so when I first smelled this perfume on the intro, I mean, I got into it. I was like, wow, this is warm, spicy, real nice, aromatic with the lavender. And then it hit me once I got to the mid. I was like, this mid smells very similar to one of my favorite perfumes, Enigma, right? And when I looked at the Fragcom feedback, I had people saying, well, it's Enigma from mid to the dry down. In my opinion, guys, it's the mid really that smells very Enigma-ish. And if you look at the notes, you got some pretty similar notes. It's going to confirm what you guys are smelling because you are going to get that signature Enigma combination of violet, rose, and jasmine over a bed of heliotrope. So without a doubt, this fragrance starts off spicy and manly, and then it suddenly hits you with the Enigma formula, all right? So it becomes an Enigma style mid right here, guys, with the same exact notes that they use on Enigma. The only different shader being coconut right here at the mid, and the coconut is not some sort of tropical coconut. That's not the point of the coconut. The coconut is basically a complementary note to the heliotrope, the sweet heliotrope. It's sort of like a base bed of coconut that catches the Enigma mid. That was pretty interesting to me, and I was just like, man, right then and there are a lot of these collectors already going, damn, like I just spent this much on a fragrance that pretty much smells like Enigma in the mid. That was one of my thoughts, and you guys can confirm it by writing on the comments. Were you guys disappointed that the mid was Enigma-ish, because it's pretty much the same notes? Let me know in the comments real quickly if you guys were disappointed. If not, then let's carry on. Now, in the dry down, guys, of Roja Manhattan, I think this is where Manhattan steps on the gas pedal and leaves Enigma in the dust, because it also has a similar dry down. However, this is where, in my opinion, this fragrance pushes the imagery of what it's trying to make us perceive in our olfactory senses to the max. Of course, the key notes right here will be your tobacco, your vanilla, your cinnamon, your clove, and your musk. Tobacco right here, as you guys know, just like Enigma, will pop out with the vanilla, with the cinnamon, the sweet spice right there. But in my opinion, this fragrance actually becomes a lot more complex, which basically puts it on that $1,000 category that I was talking about earlier. This one has some additional spices right there, and I think clove is one of those spices that really stands out with the cinnamon, with the vanilla, as well as the tobacco. And then musk, of course, does push it to where it's a super uber masculine, uber macho type of perfume. This perfume has an increased warming effect, also care of benzoin as well as vetiver, and then you're still gonna have some tinges of spice still with your pink pepper. You're going to get a tinge of ginger, which will awaken your senses with the other spices. Then there will be a woody combination of cedar and pine actually shows up later after the vanilla benzoin tobacco combo has sort of subsided. You are going to smell a pine note as well as a cedar note towards the end, guys. Okay, it's the whole hanging out at a speakeasy, drinking some cognac. Maybe you are going to get some boozy vibes out of this, even if there's no cognac here or no rum. You might get some boozy vibes because there is a resemblance to other perfumes, in my opinion. And for me, one of those perfumes that really made me think like, oh, like I have something very similar is Angel's Share. So Angel's Share is also really born out of this type of imagery, this type of concept where it's about, you know, a bar at night, jazz bar, drinking some whiskey, smoking a tobacco. And although they're not the same, guys, I really did feel like, oh, this is like the same effect that I was getting from Angel's Share, which is like sweet tobacco, woods. Performance-wise, this fragrance, in my opinion, does not project super strong. I feel like this one right here is like a lingering scent, and it's also a draw-in scent. And this one lasts a long time as that, okay? So it doesn't project really, really strong. It's just right here, which is perfect. It draws in people, but that type of potentiality goes all the way to like 8 to 9 to 10 hours. So this one really fits the whole nightlife in a jazz club or in a speakeasy type of thing, because I really can't see anybody wearing like a beast mode perfume. I think that in these kinds of instances, you really would like to have a congruent perfume, and then at the same time, that congruent perfume doesn't really push onto people, but in a sense draws them in, because a lot of conversations are done at speakeasies And I think that is sensual, it's manly. I think it really matches the character of somebody in a suit maybe. So I think it's very, very congruent. Now this fragrance for me falls into the same category as Ganymede, Fragrance du Bois Sahra Oud by Kilian Straight to Heaven, in the sense that these fragrances are formal to semi-formal fragrances, which means if you are wearing a black suit or you are dressed up formal for the night, this one is an easy grab. It's really different from Enigma because Enigma is very casual in a sense, even with the same type of notes on the mid with tobacco near the end. This one right here though is again much darker, much more aged, actually more manlier. You can even say more mature. And so this one right here is more suited for formal instances than I would say Enigma. Also, this is that type of fragrance where even if you're not in a formal setting and you want to bring that classy formal vibe with you, which is possible, guys, okay? You could be in a black polo, casual, but you are bringing that classiness with you as your aura of the day, then definitely this is one of them too. Because that's how I wear like those types of fragrances, like Ganymede, Sahra Oud, and also Manhattan. Like, I mean, I don't have to wait till I'm on a blazer in some really expensive dinner or something, you know, to like wear this. I don't have to, okay? I can just wear something like a polo, a black polo in shades. Now the big question is this fragrance worth $1,000 or even $2,000 on the resale market? Now, one thing I'm gonna say is if you are already in the Roja web, all right, and you have been spending, you know, that same amount on these types of fragrances like PDLN3, Diaghilev or Haute Luxe, and it's nothing new to you, I mean, I'm pretty sure you happy to even get this, okay? Because I mean, the name, the branding, the congruency itself is right there. This is a great perfume. So I mean, if you're used to spending that, then good for you. You got another one. Now, if you're not used to spending thousands of dollars on these types of perfumes, I would say try this first. I won't say go and get it, you know, because it's limited and such, because like I said, this type of fragrance right here, this is what Kilian does 24/7, yo. That's what Kilian does. Kilian, for example, is like a whole brand that's based on the Hennessy line, the Hennessy liquor. And of course, that's matched into the nightlife, the speakeasies, the jazz bars. And so this type of fragrance really, like for me, I can have Angel's Share, I can have Straight to Heaven Extreme, and Sahra Oud and Ganymede, and I wouldn't have to really get this, in my opinion. I wouldn't have to spend like $1,000, in my opinion. But of course, we have some Roja purists out there. So of course, if they haven't tried said perfumes, or if they are used to other type of Roja concoctions, then maybe this is a banger. Maybe they've never tried a speakeasy tobacco version. I mean, I won't say Enigma. I'm pretty sure any Roja collector, every Roja collector has probably tried Enigma already. But I think that when it comes to something that is sweet, spicy, tobacco, and is geared towards that machismo, that macho, manly guy, semi-formal to formal, in a nighttime scenario in New York, I think that this really is very, very congruent. And again, if money is no object to you, if this is just the same as your other Roja buy-ins, then I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be a fun release for you guys. In my opinion, try it first before you buy. But again, good luck getting a decant. And speaking of this decant, I do want to thank my boy Travis Gearhart of Dapper Fragrances for sending me this decant. He had a lot left, to be honest, and he was just like, yo, I'm just gonna send it to you so that you can review it. Thank you, Travis. I believe he cloned this one too. So I mean, that's really exciting, getting a clone of a $1,000 Roja Parfums Manhattan perfume. So definitely check out Dapper Fragrances. Thank you again, Travis. And that is it. That is my review of Roja Parfums Manhattan. Thank you guys for being with me. Thank you for requesting this fragrance for me to review. If you have other fragrances that you would like me to review, please let me know. Comment below, guys. And also comment below on the thoughts that you have had on this perfume. Let me know, because I'm really curious what you guys think. I mean, the whole buying process to me, of course, affects everything. And because I didn't buy this, because this was really given to me, gifted to me by a good friend, I was able to review this with no hype, with no bias. I'm not part of like a Roja group, for example. So I'm really glad to have reviewed this for you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it and share it to others. So until then, this is Troy D. God bless, take care, have a great 2022.